Hey there, my name is Rohit Kumar, and today we are going to discuss another very important journal of IEEE, whose name is IEEE Vehicular Technology Magazine. So I think you can see the homepage of this particular journal, and as usual, under the journal and magazines category in IEEE, all the journals and magazines are listed. Then you can see that Vehicular Technology Society is the sponsoring body for this particular magazine, and this magazine is quite powerful journal. So you can see the impact factor is above 10, which is very rare, but still will give preference to SCI indexing and the Q ranking above than the impact factor, because these two metrics are more important than the impact factor value only. Now coming down here, you can see that this journal is a peer-reviewed journal, and obviously in accordance with the IEEE PSPP operational manual, like any other IEEE journal. And this journal follows the single blind peer review process. It means that reviewers do know the identity or the credentials of authors, but authors don't know about the reviewers. It means who are the esteemed reviewers who are uh, going to evaluate their work. And in this way, it's quite obvious, because if the authors do know the reviewers' identity, they might try to influence their decision, etc. Okay, so if you want to see the full event scope, you should click down on this particular link, and here you'll see that most of the things related to this particular magazine includes the theoretical, experimental, application and operational aspects of electrical and electronic engineering, okay, relevant to the motor vehicles, obviously. And coming to means today's vehicular network means the modern day vehicular networks, so the land associated transport infrastructure has also been quite important, so it also becomes the focus of this particular magazine. Now coming to the exact domains or the subdomains in this particular field. So mobile, radio, then the motor vehicles, then the land transportation, and the other sort of things like the intra-vehicular components, system and applications come under the scope of this particular journal or magazine. Additionally, the tutorials surveys are also accepted in this particular journal, and usually all the journals and magazines who have very high impact factor, they usually accept the tutorials survey or the review articles, because the tutorial surveys and review articles are the main reasons of having this sort of high impact factor, and that's why impact factor is not the thing that you should always bother about. Okay, then coming to the author's resources, you can see that the submissions guidelines, submit manuscript related link, author center to have the more in detail information for authors, then the reviewers related links, and the open access publishing related details are given here in the form of hyperlinks. Coming down to the editor, so the editor in chief is the Professor Javier Gonzalez, and here he is associated uh, from Spain. Okay, he's a Spanish author, and in this way, you can see some of the other details also at the home page. But before moving there, we come down to here and see the publishing policies. So publishing policies, as we have already discussed with the peer review, which is going to be through at least two independent reviewers having the single blind review process. Then the article publication means the processing and charges, and the subscription based charges means the article publishing fees in total is supposed to be the part of this particular journal's publication. Then if there is some error in the published articles, then their related corrections, etc., are supposed to be through a particular guideline and process that is detailed here. Some other related policies like the policies, ethics, copyright and licensing, post publication related information, and the advertising related links are provided here. Additionally, the information related to IEEE Vehicular Technology Magazine information for authors and the editorial board information is given over here. So if you are interested in the editorial board information, in elsewhere they give at the homepage only. You don't need to go anywhere else, and it is quite convenient. And they give the segregation of different types of board members also. So in this way, it is becomes very easy in comparison to IEEE, that you get to know that what kind of editorial board body is and how many members are engaged in what sort of activity. So in IEEE, it is a bit cumbersome. Inside some links, you have to go and find the editorial board details, but in elsewhere, it's quite easy. So IEEE should work on their presentation, and this way they can compete with the ease of user access kind of things in comparison to elsewhere. So here you can see that some of the senior editors and details are given here. Editor in chief we have already seen. and then the associate editors and details are there. Rest of the normal editorial board members are not listed down here. So we close it and we come back, and here it is sponsored by the IEEE Vehicular Technology Society. We have already discussed at this point. Coming down to most important thing there, it is frequency. And here comes the power of this particular journal or magazine, that it is published 4 times in a year, but still its impact factor is very good. It means that articles are really influential and very good in terms of content as well as the quality. So because there are so many other magazines and journals which are monthly or bi-monthly, means they are getting published 12, having a frequency of 12 or 6 in a year, and then they struggle to achieve this impact factor. But this impact factor is achieved by this particular journal just having a frequency of 4. So it's quite remarkable. Additionally, the subject's focus include the aerospace, computing, processing, robotics and control system, and the transportation. Okay, now moving back to the home page. Here, I think we have covered most of the things. Here, these are the listed popular articles and the latest published articles. So just by seeing the popular articles means what sort of demand is there in the market with respect to vehicular technology. Additionally, what are the recently accepted articles that usually detail the focus or the current focus of the journal or magazine. So you should go through the latest published articles at least to verify whether your research is lying within the domain of the journal's current scope or not. Okay, so in this way you can see that the 6G communication is in the focus, and obviously vehicular technology means modern vehicles are supposed to be intelligent and self-driving kind of things. So that's why they are supposed to involve the faster communication technologies, and in this way 6G is the major paradigm. And then the Wi-Fi technology, then you can see the wireless virtualized network. Obviously wireless network will come into picture because the vehicles can't be using the wired network. That is quite obvious. And in this way, if you want to see more, then you can click on show all, and then you can try deep down more into this sort of detail, that what sort of topics you should look onto, and then you should prepare your manuscript. Now, I think these are some of the related magazines proceedings of the IEEE transaction on vehicular technology and IEEE access, etc. Okay. So, in my opinion, first thing that we have seen impact factor, now we should focus on SCL listing, because SCL listing and Q ranking are more important than impact factor. As per my understanding, you might differ from my opinion, and please let me know if you do. And what are the main criteria or the factors that you take into consideration while judging the quality of a particular journal or magazine. Okay, so let's see what is the SCL list. So to have the SCL listing and verify this journal's scope, we are going to move on to Claire website. Here we'll copy paste our. So we have pasted and we have got the indexing. So here you can see it is SCIE, Science Citation Index Expanded, and it is part of Web of Science core collection. So in this way, it is SCI, and now we are going to verify the Q ranking. So at the SCI Imago site, you can see that H index is not that powerful, because above than 100 usually it is considered as very powerful, and it's a USA journal and having only single track. So it might be the reason that H index is not that powerful, but still it is not the only reason, because usually the more focused articles should have more number of citations. So H index means it's a surprising for me also that having this good impact factor, the H index is very poor. Okay, now the as per the in this particular track means we are going to see the HQ ranking. So before that, see here some of the details like ISSN number, then the coverage is from 2006 to 2020. So 14, 16, 17 years old journal. Then here some of the related scope, we have already seen this. Now coming down here. So it started as a Q3 journal, and now it is ranked as Q1. So means progress is pretty good, but the only thing is that H index. That is the only point to worry about. Else everything is good about this particular journal, in my opinion. Then some of the related articles are IEEE Wireless Communications, IEEE Communication Magazine, IEEE Communication Standard Magazine, and IEEE Index. So if your work didn't get published due to some reason, means as the journal is SCI having the Q1 ranking and the impact factor is of content, so it's a top-notch journal as of now. So obviously competition is there. So you should see how to break into, and obviously you should write in a very focused way. Now the very important thing and impressive thing that all the metrics are on a positive note with respect to this particular journal, despite being despite having the below 100 H index. You can see it is very rare that SGR index is moving up, total number of documents are moving up, then the citations with respect to last 2 years are moving up, though it is less than last 3 years, but still it is in very good direction. Then you can see that the total number of citations and the self-citation gap is very, very good. Means self-citations is very less, that is 30, and as per the repetition of a particular journal, this rate is very good. Okay, and coming to the international qualification, it is also almost all-time high. Okay, so in this way, you can see that all the indices are indicating the positive response. The some of the articles are not citable. That might be due to some policy guideline violation or something, some other reason. I don't know much about this thing, and if you do know, please comment down below that what are the possible reasons of non-citable documents. Then coming to the non-cited documents. So here also again, as I repeatedly told that if you did, your work didn't get cited, it doesn't mean that your work doesn't have quality. It might be the reason that very few authors are working in that particular domain or field, or due to some other reason, means you didn't write a review or the kind of tutorial. That's why your work didn't have more citation. So don't worry about it. Now coming to the overall conclusion to this particular journal's review. So this widget shows that it's a Q1 journal, and as per my opinion, it's Q1. Before that, it's SCI. Secondly, it's Q1, and thirdly, impact factor is of 10. So it's a top-notch journal, and you should definitely go for publishing in this particular uh, uh, in this particular journal if possible, because usually what we see that it is not so easy to get work published in this sort of journal, and obviously whenever you try for that, a lot more competition is there, because usually so many top authors and the well-known authors do try for that. Lot of collaborative teams do try for these sort of journals, and that's why it becomes quite tough to get into this such a competitive space and having a success. But still, if your work has quality, then definitely you will go through all these things, but still you'll succeed. And coming to the participation collaboration, so as per the data, more than 60 plus countries authors are publishing their works, means have been publishing their work in this particular magazine and transaction. And coming to the specific focus, then computer networks, wireless network, traffic psychology, electrical engineering, telecommunication engineering, then energy economics, data management, cloud computing, etc. are the some of the related areas. And the most related keywords include the vehicular technology, vehicular society, then 6G, electronic communication, then wireless communication, mobile radio, land transport, then vehicle to anything vehicle to vehicle communication, then wireless networks, etc. So in this way, you must have got a notion by now that what sort of content you should focus on to. And coming to the other details, means what sort of institutions are publishing their work with this particular journal or magazine. So obviously some well-known university like the University of Kassel, National Security Personnel Systems, University of Agder, University of London, National Taipei University, University of Waterloo, Utah State University, Southeast University, are some of the popular and well-known universities that are publishing their works with this particular journal or magazine. Okay, so in this way, you can see that the scope is quite good, because you will have a possibility to get associated with some of the top-notch scientists or the researchers in vehicular technology field. Additionally, some of the alternative journals I have already told you on the SCI Mago site, but if you try to get onto means what sort of things you should look onto, then I think you should follow some of the related authors. So the authors who are publishing IEEE Vehicular Technology Magazine, they also publish their work in MDPI Sensor, Chinese Journal of Pathology, then the IEEE Transaction on Communication, then Wireless Personal Communications, Journal of Optical Communication, and IT Communications, etc. But in addition to this, there are a lot more. There are IEEE transactions on vehicular technology, etc. Okay, where you can focus on. Additionally, you can also switch the publisher, and obviously the Elsevier, Springer, Wiley, Sage Publishing, Tillen, Francis Oxford, University Press, Hindavi. These are some of the well-known and common competitor of IEEE. So you can also try there. Additionally, as I always say that most of the high impact factor and the good reputation journals do have the higher rate of returning authors. So this is true with this journal also, and the rate of returning authors is always means gone bit down in between, but it is on surge as of now. So once you publish, you will get the wide reputation, you will get the wide recognition, and you will have more citation, possibly, not guaranteed. So that's why it makes author to return again and again to get published in this sort of journals. So please let me know about any other topics or the things that I missed out. And if you didn't like anything about this video, please do comment below, and feel free to criticize the video. Thanks for watching the video again. Happy learning.